leadership did not just start here in the United Kingdom for me. In Africa, women who were married into the family, things have changed now. They don't call any child that was born, they don't call them by their name. So they look for a nickname or something to call them. The wives then call me teacher.
Teacher.
Yeah, and the reason is because as young as I was then, I will bring my younger ones out. The things I learn in school, I'll teach them. So it's not just about the positions, it's about the influence you've had on people. So when I came over to the United Kingdom, it wasn't something planned that I was going to go into leadership. No, I just found a vacuum. I saw that students of my color were not represented when certain decisions were made. In fact, there was a particular incident that made me decide to stand for office. My definition of leadership actually is influence.
Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Series by the Diaspora Code, where we spotlight African leaders and entrepreneurs making impact in the diaspora. Now, today with me, I have Mr. Femi Abolade. Now, he was the Student Union President, overseeing over 20,000 students in the United Kingdom. He's currently the co-founder of Connect 360. He's an author. He's a travel enthusiast. I mean, there's so many things, but this is the great man with me. Can I meet you, Mr. Femi? Can you tell us about yourself?
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and it's my pleasure again to meet with you again.
Same here.
Yeah, I am Femi Abolade. A lot of people call me Femi, which is fine by me. And yes, I was student union president at TISA University, where I represented over 20,000 students for 2 years consecutively. And after that, I completed my master's in public health. I have been a public health advocate for a long time, even right from Nigeria, where I worked as an environmental health practitioner. And here in the UK, I am a public health enthusiast and advocate, and also co-founder of Connect 360, which an organization that supports migrants who have no recourse to public funds. Probably we'll still talk more about that.
Okay.
And not only that, I'm into travel. I'm a travel enthusiast. I love traveling myself, and I love helping people who actually want to travel around the world, see the world. I see traveling as education itself. And yes, quite a lot of things that I do, but yeah, this is me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, from all you've said, you've held a lot of leadership role. Now, can you walk us through the journey of who you were before now, before all of this?
Yeah, well, my definition of leadership actually is influence. Leadership is influence, the ability to influence. It doesn't have to be a large number of people, even if it's just one person. The ability to influence a person is leadership. And for me, leadership did not just start here in the United Kingdom for me. It started way, way back, even when I was very young. And I remember where I grew up in Songwater in Ogun State. That was where I was born and I grew up. And right from childhood, in Africa, women who were married into the family, then, I don't know, things have changed now. They don't call any child that was born, they don't call them by their name. So they look for a nickname or something to call them.
Okay.
For me, the name that the wives then call me is teacher.
Teacher.
Yeah, and the reason is because as young as I was then, I will bring my younger ones out. The things I learn in school, I'll teach them. So I believe that has been, for me, the start of the whole journey. And from there, when I got to the College of Health Technology, where I did my diploma, I was in leadership positions. There, several of them within the college. I was in the college for 5 years. And within that time, I was president of the Nigeria Fellowship of Evangelical Students for 3 years. And not only that, I was also I led the electoral committee of the student union at the time, and I was an informal leader of, when you say somebody's an informal leader in the student union at the
Yes.
time. So those things have been there. While I was working in Nigeria and in Ogun State as an environmental practitioner, I served in several leadership roles as well. I was assistant secretary of my organization. I was secretary. I was vice president before I came to the UK. I served both at the local level, the regional level, and at the national level. And all these things, I believe, it's not just about the positions. It's about the influence you've had on people over time. So for me, leadership is service. Is the ability to serve people, to be able to influence people so that they can make the best use and the best decision for their life. So when I came over to the United Kingdom, it wasn't something planned that I was going to go into leadership. No. I think I just found a vacuum. And the vacuum was that I saw that students of my color were not represented when certain decisions were made. In fact, there was a particular incident that made me decide to stand for office. And that I was in the library, they were holding the welcome events. And somebody came to the library and said, oh, the event that was going on in the student union, that a Nigerian was bounced out of the student union. I didn't even think about it. I just felt, why would that happen? That if we had somebody who represents us there, that shouldn't happen.
Yes.
And that was why I spoke to 1-2 persons, and they said, oh, yeah, you've been doing things even informally before this. So it's something you can do. And I got the support of friends, of associates, people who've been doing things together with the Nigerian, what do you call it? The Nigerian Student Association. Yeah, and they said, yeah, you can go ahead. And that was how it happened. So for me, leadership is influencing, making change where you feel that there is a need for a particular change.
No, that's lovely. Let me just take you back to, when you mentioned about back home growing up. So do you think your upbringing shaped or probably have any influence on how you see leadership here, the things you've done here in the UK?
Yes, of course it did. Growing up, again, part of me which a lot of people, well, some people might know, and I think through this, is that my dad was a pastor. And because of that, he also led congregation. So I would say I was born into the house of a leader, somebody who led quite a number of people. He was not just a leader in the church, he was a leader in the community. And I cannot count the number of people who actually lived with us, people we never knew, people we didn't know where they came from. One day, Daddy would just say, oh, this person is coming to live with us, and that's it. And that influence, I think, rubbed off on me. Seeing somebody, he has been my hero, and he has been my mentor from a long. He's no longer with us now, but growing up under him, growing up with him, has helped me a lot to see leadership as service, being a service to the community, being a service to the people. And I think it's rubbed off on me throughout my journey, throughout my life. And up to today, anywhere I find myself, sometimes I want to, sit back. But when you see the need for service, you see a vacancy where there is a need for something to be done to influence people's life, somehow I just find myself in it. So I think, yes.
It always finds you.
It's always there, always there.
So you said you've actually represented over 20,000 students. What does that feel like behind closed doors? Like when you're alone, how does that make you feel? What does it give you, some sort of pressure?
It's a heavy weight. That's one thing I must say. It is a heavy weight to be representing people, for people to be looking up to you.
Yes.
And then they're waiting on your decisions. Yes, of course, they have input in what you will be doing, but it's your call. So if things go right or does not go right, it's still it comes back to you. And that's the burden of leadership, actually. And for me, yes, there were times I questioned myself to say, Femi, why? Why did you do this? And yes, the pressure was always there, but also there's also the fulfillment when you receive a text message from somebody who says, oh, thank God for you. Thank God for the response you gave at this time. Thank God for standing up for me at this moment. Thank God for coming through for me at this time. Those moments as well, you sit down, you read those messages, and you say, well, I think it's worth it. It's worth standing up and taking this challenge to help and support people. So behind closed doors, yes, it's on both sides. The pressure were there. There were times that people call in the middle of the night, and I ask myself, why did I put myself in this kind of a mess? But like I said, if you flip it over, you also see the joy you are able to put in the face of people and the smile that comes from them, and that keeps it going.
So if I'm to ask you, what has been the hardest decision you had to make as a president?
Yeah, well, that was a question I've thought about. Well, there were moments. I would say there were some tough moments, but if I would look into which of it, one of the hardest decisions, I guess that's the question.
Yes, the hardest decisions
that I've made as when I was president. I would say when I was on a panel, and you decide the fate of a student. Yes, you can say that sometimes, yes, people may get their life back, but when you're on a panel, there was a panel I was on, and it determines whether that student will no longer be a student in Teesside. And not just being a student in Teesside, the outcome of that panel means that that person cannot even go to any higher institution in the UK at the time because of what was done.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult decision for you, being the one
to
in
make
that panel.
Decision.
Yeah, of course, I was not the only one. There were three of us in the panel. But of course, if I had swerved on one side, probably might have turned the decision aside. But you have to look at things not just emotionally. You look at things as a leader as well. You look at things objectively.
Okay.
And then you say, okay, if I do this, if I make this decision, how does it impact not just on the university, how does it impact on other students whom I also represent?
Yes.
And that decision, that helps you to make the right kind of call at the time. And yes, we made a call at the time to say that, yes, this person can no longer be a student. He has to go. Yeah, I left the place, felt sad. But if you look at it on the other hand, yes, also you feel that you have helped and supported some other students who from them they complain actually come. But it's not, if you ask me as a leader, it's not an easy decision for you to make. It's in such instance. But on the other side, that's as regards students. But generally, one of the decisions I've also made, I don't know if I should say this on camera, but I've told some few people, one of the reasons why I stood for election for the second year running at the time was that the student union was undergoing a very drastic time. The relationship between the student union at that time in 2023 has broken down with the university, and the university was our major sponsor. It means that we get bulk of the funding from the university. And the cause of this conflict was the then chief executive of the SU. So there was a decision. Do we back the SU CEO, and then the funding stops? Over 20,000 students are in limbo because it affects everything we will do and support we provide for them. Or do we say, look at things holistically and say, well, we have to repair this relationship that has broken down between the university and the SU? The objective decision at the time, was to go with the 20,000 students rather than just one person who is the CEO. It was a very tough decision again to make. We had to, and this is politics. The board, you have to use the word lobby now. The board, you have to speak with people, and we have to put some things, I won't go into details, do certain things and the CEO had to be let go. And that saved the SU. So that's another decision I would say, because that was the main reason why I decided to run for the second time. People thought, oh, it was... because if I did not do it at that time, it's the same thing that has been happening. New set of people come in. The same problem start all over again.
Exactly.
The CEO knows that you guys are naive. You don't know what has been going on. And then the trouble goes on. But I felt a sacrifice has to be done. I had to come back for a second time so that we can continue what we started and get it done finally. Yeah. It was a very hard decision for me to make, which cost me. It cost me because if I had not gone for the second term, probably we know what happens with the certificate of sponsorship. I would have probably finished my course, got a COS before the rule changed.
Okay.
But in the time where I was there in the second time, the rule changed. And things affected me, affected my whole family, just because of a decision I made because I wanted to save the student union. So sometimes that's leadership. I ask myself over again, and to be fair, up to now I still ask myself, did I make the right call by staying behind to do this? But who knows? I think it's something to be answered some other time.
Oh, that's a very huge sacrifice you made. So you spoke about not just being emotional, but also being objective as a leader. So what other qualities do you think that one has to possess to be a leader? I know it varies and is actually subjective to whatever it is they're leading, but what would you think, like, just say the basics. For you to be a leader, you must possess this,
Yeah, well, I think one major thing is the ability to see beyond the immediate. A leader must be able to see beyond now, see beyond what you're looking at you'll be able to see in the long term. The decisions I'm making now. So I think I had it from Pastor Tunde Bakari several years ago in Nigeria, one of the leading Pentecostal leaders in Nigeria. And he said politicians think about the next election, but leaders think about the next generation. Yes. So one of the qualities of a leader is the ability to think beyond the immediate and look right into the future, to be able to see how does my decision now impact the future of what is before me. So, but beyond that, beyond having a vision, a long-term vision, yes, even though you're objective, you must also be empathetic, not sympathetic now, not showing sympathy, but having empathy. That even though I'm making the right call, I must do it in such a way that people should have at least an understanding of what I am doing at the time. So when you make decisions, for example, something happened when I was president, which was, I think it pitched me somehow against some people in the Nigerian community. And that was when we had issue of the university curtailing, reporting people to the Home Office because they couldn't pay their tuition. Because of that, it led to them it led them missing class. Because of course, if you are curtailed, your card is withdrawn, you can't attend class. And attendance means that you'll be reported to the Home Office. Yeah. Now, when this happened, for some of them who quickly came to the SU to say, oh, this was happening, myself and the fellow president at the time, I was President Wellbeing, we had President Education, Michael Adeome. We swung into action. For those who came to us quickly to say, oh, this was happening, we spoke with the finance, and things were resolved for some people. But those who probably felt, oh, they didn't take things proactively, I can't be going to people to say, oh, do you have a problem there? What is wrong with you? No, you have to come out to say what is happening. Yes. And when this happened, it was almost too late at the time it happened. A lot of people were expecting that we should lead, let's do a luta. And I said, that's not how things work here. That's not how things work here. But we had to speak with the university, meet with the university. People went to media at the time, even against our advice. They went to the media, BBC, and then it became an international media that even I was getting a call from the Nigeria embassy in London I got a call from TNT to be granted interview, got interview from call from BBC I declined these interviews, not because I didn't know what to say, but I know that sometimes media can misquote and misinterpret what you say. And for a leader, that is one other thing that we must learn. That you must learn, what do I say? How do I say it? So that it does not escalate matters beyond what you're expecting. So this became an issue. But at that time, we had to explain to people that if there was this has happened, how do we resolve it? The ones that could be resolved were resolved when we intervened and spoke with the university. We had meetings with the university. I traveled to London to meet with the Nigerian High Commission. Traveled to the TISA University London to meet with students who were having the same issues there. And some of this, but some were too late to be resolved. And the truth, we all saw it that this was too late. And some of them were offered monies to go back to their country. The university never intended to do that. But due to intervention, that happened. And for me, I think that we might not be 100%. We might not have gotten 100%. I never said we'll get 100%. But the ability to show empathy when things are not going right by telling people, oh, this was your fault, but this is what we can do for you to help and mitigate the situation.
All right, that's actually lovely. So now let's talk about Connect 360. What gaps did you see that made you take up that initiative?
Oh, yes. Connect 360 was born out of my time as president.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, when I was president, I had one of the things I did, one of the initiatives I took as president was students supporting students. And that we meet every Tuesday. We met every Tuesday from 4:30 to 6. It was beyond my closing time as president. Normally I should close by 5, but every Tuesday we meet 4:30 to 6, where people come around, talk about so many things, anything. The ones sometimes it's just to listen to people, let people share their experiences. People share, oh, these are things I know that. So we have people. So when I was leaving, I felt, how do we do something that help people? During the course of my time as president, I saw quite a lot of what international students, especially those who do not have recourse to public funds, what we face. And I feel, rather than just complaining, what can we do? My co-founder, Jane Adeobomi, we studied public health together, Masters in Public Health. She had graduated 2 years earlier. I stayed behind for politics. She has graduated. But she worked with British Red Cross. She also worked with triage. And in all these positions, our major role had been supporting asylum seekers, refugees, and people who are finding it hard to either get employment or go back to employment. So when she left triage, she joined an organization called Way Through. And there, the work was wider, which was also asylum seekers, refugees, and also those who are seeking employment. Anybody really, in the country, but not people who have recourse to public funds.
Okay.
After I left as president, I still get called almost every day. People call me, oh, I have a question. Oh, Mr. President. I said, I'm no longer president. I said, yes, as long as we know you are still our president. And people call me, they have questions. In fact, some about their marriages, about their relationships, about visas, about study in the university. I get calls even from Nigeria. People pass my numbers across to people from Nigeria. Oh, we want to come to T-side. Can you tell us this? And I felt I cannot keep doing this on my own.
Yes.
And what can I do? It's better, rather than doing something that could wear you down, why not establish something that could run on its own and then give people support?
Yeah.
And that's where Connect 360 was. Myself and Jane were very close. Our families are very close. And we're discussing one day, and we're talking about what she was doing. She was in a meeting, and they were saying, oh, they support migrants. But all the migrants they support, it's all about asylum seekers and refugees, not people like international students or people who are here on visas and things like that. And she rose up her hand and she spoke in that meeting to say, We're only talking about refugees there are migrants beyond refugees and asylum seekers. And everybody in the meeting was saying, well, we don't know that. And they told us something. They said, well, if that does not exist, then create something. So when we're talking, I said, well, I have the background of, helping people, international students, and the community generally. She had experience of employability, helping, and we brought that together. We said, well, let's create something. And we came up with the idea of Connect 360. So the name itself means to connect people and then offer them a 360-degree support. That's where Connect 360 actually comes from. So when we started, we said we're supporting legal migrants who have no recourse to public funds. And that, we said it just to, separate ourselves from asylum seekers and refugees. Not because we have anything against refugees or asylum seekers, but so that people can know that there are people who are migrants in this country, but are not asylum seekers and refugees. A lot of people in this country didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that was what we have been doing. And in the past 1 year, by God's grace, we held our foundation day in January 25th, 26th. And that day, collating all the data of what we've done, we've supported over 500 individuals within a space of 1 year, whether it's with employability. In fact, we've helped over 50 persons into work, over 200 people to look at their CVs and to look at, And I must say, I don't take credit for what is not mine. Jane, who is my co-founder, she has been excellent. She's the one who's doing majorly around employability networking. She's been absolutely wonderful. But yes, I bring my networking also. The network as I've had when I was president also, I bring that into the mix. And then we see how we can support people. So that's all about Connect 360 and the idea behind starting that organization.
Wow, that's a very good journey that you are taking right now. So far since inception, how has it evolved? How have you guys been able to go through the challenges in building it? Because apparently with something like this, there'll be a lot of challenges coming with it.
Yeah, there have been challenges. I remember when we were starting in January 2025, we held our first event. We made it a charity event. We collected some goods from Multibank Junction, which today is one of our strong partners. And we spoke to people, come around, we got these things, they all new, and people came around. And one of those who came, one of the managers at Triage, Gary Morrison, he said something. He was the former manager of Jane. And he told myself, and he said, the journey you're about to embark is a journey that will pitch you against a lot of people. He's British, but he has worked with so many people from different backgrounds. He's a very great, open-minded individual. And he said, you are starting a journey that will pitch you against so many mountains. But I know the both of you, I know you're going to overcome. And when we held our event in January 26th this year, I told him, I said, Gary, you mentioned this, and it has come true. He said, we're going to face it, and we faced it. But he said, I told you that both of you are strong, and you've been able to overcome these challenges. Now, over the course of 1 year, we've been able to establish partnership and networking with a lot of people. Funny part is that the people that you think will give you the greatest support did not come from there. In fact, you got some kind of, I won't call it opposition. Maybe I wouldn't say jealousy.
I know.
but you didn't get the kind of support that you expected. People that you felt, I wouldn't mention names of organizations or persons, but individuals or organizations that you feel, this one. But we didn't get that. We got support from unexpected places.
But why does it always happen like that? Like people you expect them to, that you feel that, oh, this is my person,
Well, I guess it's nature. I guess that's how nature works. It teaches us that we shouldn't put our expectations on certain places.
Yeah.
And, today we say at Connect 360 that even though we support migrants who have no recourse to public funds, we don't push anybody away. We do not push anybody away. whether you're an asylum seeker, you're a refugee. We've had British citizens attend our event. We've offered support to British citizens, British nationals, to asylum seekers, so the things that we saw that made us to start Connect 360, we wouldn't want to also do that to anybody. So our doors are always open to people. And along the line too, we've seen organizations that we felt that, these were very good partners, we worked with them, but we later discovered that they were also competing with us. Because, and I think I should say this, I know we're registered as a charity. We're expecting Charity Commission to respond to us before the end of the month. It's been over 6 months that the application has gone in. It takes a long time. But as a charity, people expect that, yes, money is flowing. You're getting money. No. Myself and Jane, we have been doing this on a voluntary basis. We have our full-time jobs that we do outside of Connect 360. And it's a question a lot of people have asked us, how do you manage it? How do you combine these things together? And I think it's just when you are driven by passion and you are driven by empathy, you don't look at the financial side of the game. Yes, I must say it will still come, but this is not the time to pursue that. The time now is to see how the idea behind Connect 360, how do we support the people? And that's why part of our events, next week we are holding, before the end of the month, we are holding a career conference, because we do not want young people, young migrants who are coming up, to also do the kind of job that many of the parents are doing now, that they do not really enjoy, but they are doing it because it's sacrifice. We want the children to contribute positively to the British economy. I'm not saying that we are not contributing or the parents are not, but I'm saying that nothing stops our kids from being AI engineers in this country, from being chemical engineers, from building this country. No. So we need to open up doors for them to see the reality and how best that they can be part of this community. And that is what Connect 360 is actually doing. So yes, we are facing opposition. We have challenges, one of which is finance. Getting grants or funding has been difficult. Yes, we got a very small pot of funding from National Lottery, which has been helping us to do quite a lot. In fact, I wouldn't say how much we got, but it's so little that if I mention how much we got and what we've been doing with that, even National Lottery, they are surprised by what we are doing with the little amount we got from them. So it's just, for us, it's about the impact, it's about the support, it's about helping and bringing people up to the level that we feel that, yes, the British people and the British community actually needs. So yes, the challenges are there, but we're finding our way around it.
So, so many African entrepreneurs and communities, they actually face rejections when it comes to these grants. Now, how were you able to handle when you got the answer that you definitely did not want? How were you able to handle it?
Well, one thing I've noticed is that let me start by saying this. In my room, while growing up, I had it on the wall. Blessed is the man who expects nothing, for he shall not be disappointed.
Yes.
And I think that works both ways. Yes, sometimes you should have great expectations. But if you are going into something and you have too much of expectation into it, your disappointment, if it doesn't happen, your level of disappointment will be very high. And for me, so if I go into something, I go with the mindset that I could get a no. Whether it's job application, whether it's contesting for election, whether it is anything I do at all, I go with the expectation that the part of the options I can get is a no. So it helps me to manage my expectations. It helps me to manage when people reject me. So yes, we applied for several fundings. In fact, there was one that at the point, the person who was actually in charge was encouraging me, saying, Femi, go and apply for this. It was our first funding. And it was our first heartbreak. We were thinking, the way she was pushing, it was as if it's a done deal.
You had it all covered.
And It came back as
Oh,
unfortunately.
everywhere was blur, right?
And we've had so many. We've had several, unfortunately, like that. So when we apply for the funding at the National Lottery too, we apply with the mindset that, well, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, we move. We've been using our money to fund everything we do. So when we got the email to say that it was successful, we're like, really? So yeah, I think for anybody who wants to go into anything like this, or probably it's grant or anything, just so that you avoid heartache, have a no as part of the option. I always say something. I say the worst that they can tell me
It's
is a
no.
So with that, if it happens, yeah, of course, I may be paying, when you get out, unfortunately, but it is
Yes.
what it is.
So what three system would you say immigrant founders should put in place when they want to apply for grants or...
Oh, yes. Well, there are two things I think I'll talk about. The first is that when people are putting up for grants, you should speak with people who have actually done it ahead.
Okay.
Sometimes you may think you have answers for everything, but there may be things that your eyes may be missing. So it's best to, if you've seen somebody who's done certain things in a place or about something, ask questions. And let me say this as well. Sometimes people also think that, oh yeah, if I ask for information and the person tells me that I'm going to pay, that it's a wrong thing. No. Yes, if it involves you paying to get information, I think it's worth. If you know that what you're actually putting in for is worth that, then go ahead and do it. I'm not saying that you should go for something that becomes very corrupt when it's a large percentage. But if you are paying to get information about how to do certain things, especially how to put in for grants, how to apply for funding, somebody wants to hold your hand to do that. I'm not saying that I can do that for somebody. I'm still a novice when it comes to it, but I'm saying that if you have opportunity for that, please don't hesitate to do that. Then number two is that we have people called fundraisers. They are professional fundraisers. They help people. You can find them online in this country. It's legal, it's legit. You find professional fund, and for many of them it is no fund, no fee. That is, if the grant doesn't come in, they
Don't
get
pay
anything.
them. Okay.
So if you apply through people like that, you have at least you have thrown your chances out there. They've been doing, that's what they do for life, and they also know that whatever they apply for, they get their percentage. So they put in their everything
best,
so that you get it. So it's a win-win situation.
Yes.
For you and for the person as well. So if you don't get it, you're losing nothing. You're able to face other things that you are doing while the person goes with the headache of how, and they can apply for several funding at the same time.
Okay.
So I can say that there are so many funding out there, so many that can fund different things, different ideas. There are some that are specific, there are some that are generic. So it's just a matter of being able to look at what you are asking for. So those are the two options I think I'll advise people when they want to apply for.
All right. So I know you're into travels and tours at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, what made you start up that business?
It was a hobby for me.
Oh.
I love traveling. One of the things I've always said is that I want to travel the world. I want to,
Yes, I think you mentioned that to me one time.
I really, it's still part of my plan. God helping me, God giving me.
So how many countries have you traveled to so far?
Not much. Maybe I think maybe about 5 or 6.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, within 3 years. Yes, I love traveling. I love going around, and I think that was what I felt when I traveled. First, I discovered that traveling solo for some people might be fun. For me, it wasn't fun. So I feel it's good to travel in a group. And what best to do is than to introduce to other people.
Yeah.
And I discovered that a lot of us as Africans too in this country, it's not our fault. We are juggling so many things. If it's not study, you're juggling childcare, you're juggling with your family or with your job. If you're on sponsorship, you are limited to certain things you can do. So yes, it's understandable. But what about those weekends?
The off days.
Yeah, the off days.
When you're on annual leave,
Yeah, And when we say traveling, it might not actually be outside of the country. There are countless of places within the UK that are still undiscovered. When I mean undiscovered, I don't mean people don't.
Yeah,
do that.
I
mean
know.
that we've not actually explored. So many places that we can go. One thing I also do, I go on bus road trips. I just buy ticket, just go on road trip, 2 hours, 3 hours, enjoy the scenery,
Yeah.
enjoy the place. So I feel, why not introduce that? And when I started, I've had quite a number of people say, oh, I would love to do this, but I couldn't do it on my own. I needed that prompt.
Yes, they needed people.
And that was what we've been able to achieve with Easy Plus, which is the travel. So we've been able to help put people in a place where they can actually explore. This year we've not been anywhere, but I've been getting calls and messages from people to say, where are we going? In fact, this morning I still got a message from somebody to say,
What's the plan?
Yeah, I said, well, we are going somewhere. I just want the winter to be off ground. So yes, for me, it started as a hobby, and extending that to other people to see that people like myself who actually want to explore, but they don't have the capacity to organize things like that.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea, became a thing. Last year we were on about 5 or 6 stores across the UK, some outside of the UK. And I also help people who want to go on their own. I help them do all the planning and put everything.
All the itineraries and everything.
Yes, and then they go.
So what is the biggest misconception people have about travel business?
It's expensive. People think that, about the business or about travel?
About travel, the travel business.
Yeah. About travel, people think it's expensive. I think it depends on you. It depends on what you want. If you want a very cheap travel.
But if you get a cheap travel, are you going to really enjoy it?
Yes, why not? I think sometimes there's this myth that the expensive, the better.
Okay.
It's not usually the case. There are times I've booked tour for people to Albania, and in fact, the last set of people who went, I made it so flexible that you can choose what you want. So we had people who choose to have Airbnb and people who choose to have hotel. When those who went to the Airbnb, they loved where they went. Yeah, the person who went to the hotel also loved it. But, comparing, she was like, oh, I've stayed
in the Airbnb.
It was more expensive to stay in the hotel than the Airbnb. But in the Airbnb, you could cook your meal.
Oh.
You could do your things the way you want it. So, like I said, sometimes expensive may not mean better.
Yeah.
So it's one myth when people think that, and then also people think that, I can't do it myself. In fact, you can do a lot of things by yourself. Yes, you might need guide sometimes, but you can do it all by yourself.
Well, that's good. Talking to you so far, you've shared a lot of information. Now, there's something that a lot of people do, and that's gatekeeping. But you've shared a lot of information. Now, I don't know why people do it, and I don't know if you can tell me or tell the whole world why people love to gatekeep information.
Well, I don't gatekeep information. I think that's obvious. Whatever I know, people ask me. I've helped people, even support them in their own businesses, starting businesses here in the UK. I can give several examples, but there's no need to go into details. I think the reason why people do it is because sometimes people want to play God.
Oh, yes.
They feel that, the more I keep it to myself,
the more people don't know about it. I know. I feel like
I feel on top of the
world. The person with the information has the power.
Yes, that may be true, but the fact is that they may get it somewhere else.
Yes.
And then what becomes of you? I always say that lighting other people's candle with your candle does not reduce your light.
No.
It doesn't. That you have helped somebody and then their business have grown up to become multi-million pounds business, and probably yours is still in the group of thousands, doesn't make less of you. Doesn't mean that if you didn't share that with that person, you will have grown to million pounds business. No. Yeah, I think I feel reason why people may want to do is because they feel that, if I have this idea to myself, I'll be able to grow it and make all the most of it.
Of course, that's what a lot of people think. No man is an island to begin with.
Life does not even work that way. The fact is that ideas grow it's just like when grain is sprayed on the land, it
Mm-hmm.
grows everywhere. So if you don't share yours,
Somebody
it will
else
come
will.
else from somewhere else.
Definitely.
It doesn't help us if we keep gatekeeping.
So what's one thing about you that a lot of people don't know? They just know Femi Abolade, but they don't know this particular thing.
Let me see. If I say you might also want to disagree, I'm an introvert.
Oh,
Or, well, what people might call ambivert.
okay. So you go in between depending on where you
but
find yourself.
I can stay indoors for 3 days by myself. Yeah, I'm that kind of person. But
But you're into the travel business.
yes,
And
and
you are.
that's why I'm looking. That's why I'm saying that. If situation warrants that I become an extrovert at that time,
You blend.
it happens. It just that's so that's why I say I'm ambivert. If there's anyone like that, people I've had people say so. Yes, but naturally.
So a lot of people think you're an extrovert
yes,
meeting you
people think I'm an extrovert because you see me here, you see me there.
with lots
And
of people.
yeah, well, one other thing that apart from my wife, I don't have a best friend.
I mean, it's allowed
I don't know. Yeah, of course, you know there are people who grew up.
with lots of best
Yeah,
friends. My
lots of friends.
bestie.
Yeah, I don't have one.
So
Yeah,
is it that you're
I'm
not
cool
good
with
at
a lot of people.
socializing, or
Well,
you have this safe space and you don't want people in it? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I don't know if that is it. But again, I'm just the kind of person. Yes, I can socialize if matters warrant it. If I need to, I socialize. But there are times that I just feel
It just drains
just
you.
me. Let me just. Even at
I
home,
know.
my wife will say, "You're just on the phone."
Oh, so what advice would you give to people out there aspiring to be leaders in the diaspora? Because, it's one thing for you to leave your home and go to a different country. You're starting all over again. There will be struggles for you, what you can easily achieve in your home country. When you go out to a different place, you find yourself struggling. So what advice will you give to people who have left their homes, scattered everywhere in the diaspora, aiming to be a leader at some point in time in their life? What will you tell them?
Well, I'll say that leadership is not something that you just wake up and say, "I want to go into." Leadership is everywhere, in your home, in your community, in your workplace. You don't have to have a title to be a leader.
Yes.
So if leadership is something that you feel you want to do, start it wherever you are. Just do it. Try to influence people. I mean positively.
Mm-hmm.
Do something. Serve people. So if there's any advice I'll give to anybody who's come to this country or who's a young person and is growing up and is saying, "Oh, I think I have this leadership in me." Yes, you have it. And what you should do is that start by serving. The best of us are those who serve the rest of us.
Oh, yes.
So if you want to be that leader, sometimes people that will just even go and call you out to say, "No, we've known you. We've seen what you've been doing. Come represent us here." So it's not just for you to just wake up one day and say, "Yeah,
I want to be at the front." Yeah.
No, leadership doesn't work that way. You might be in a position and not be a leader.
True.
So if you want to lead, you must be the one to serve the rest of us.
Oh. Thank you so much, Femi Abolade. It was really nice having you, and it's been my pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure being here.
Thank you for staying with us on this episode, and I hope to see you in the next edition.